Okay, folks, here we go. The drama with McClung and Dankyjabo. I've watched a little bit of this, followed a little bit of this. Tom Dark covered it. I watched his video on it and came to many of the same conclusions he did. But yes, very interested to hear his response. Let's get it moving.
So originally I wasn't going to address this situation because it's all based on petty, baseless gossip and huge lies that frankly weren't worth responding to. But recently it's become so much bigger than I ever thought it would, so I figured I'd set the record straight. For the last few months I've been the target of a harassment campaign from McClung and Katiclyzm. They've been lying about me both privately and publicly and passing off huge false assumptions as fact when there is no evidence to support them. The two main claims that they make are that I'm a misogynist and that I'm supporting an abuser. In Lewis's video he details all of the supposed allegations.
The accusations against Dankyjabo, aka Jesse, go as follows. Lying to your audience, using hateful, derogatory...
Before we go any further, why has this guy got, the ego, size of a house ego, why has he got a fan underneath his desk to waft his hair about? I mean, come on, dude, what is this?
speech towards women, silencing those who are against you, and lying to and manipulating your audience, those who hold you as
and wearing a corset. we're going full Fleetwood Mac here.
Honestly.
All of these allegations are either lies or baseless assumptions based on nothing but pure conjecture. For those who are unaware, I used to edit for I'm Alex. Me and Alex were not friends during this period and it was purely a business relationship. In fact, the last time that I ever spoke to the man was when I received my last payment from him 6 months ago. Despite this, McClung and Katiclyzm have made it out as though me and Alex were and continue to be.
Katiclyzm, that's the other person involved in this drama. Who, by the way, wears exactly the same clothes as McClung. But we'll come to that later.
Close friends, and that I'm even being mentored by him. Obviously, there is no evidence to support this because it's not true, so the two resort to grasping at straws, lying, and making things up to pass me off as an abuse apologist. One of the only pieces of evidence that they show are that our thumbnails are similar.
You can even tell the blatant mentoring through the exact same thumbnail design. They use the exact same thumbnail design. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just more proof.
Actually, hold up. I actually, as a graphic designer myself, I can tell you that those fonts are actually two different fonts, so you want to get down to brass tacks here.
That he mentored him or taught him his ways.
Mentored and taught him his ways. He literally edited for I Am Alex. So he might have done the thumbnails for I Am Alex.
These are just YouTube thumbnails. It's ridiculous that these can be counted as any type of evidence that me and him have some sort of relationship. And by the way, this is also a point made by both Katiclyzm and an actual old friend of Alex and Jake Baz, who was previously featured on his channel before.
When Alex stopped posting because of everything that happened, Jesse then started posting very much in the style of Alex, with the Alex's thumbnails, etc, etc.
Coincidentally, your thumbnails seems to be only since he's quit. Your thumbnails have started getting a lot more like Alex's.
Bro. Are we really judging somebody's character by how they do their thumbnails? I'm pretty sure as Dankyjabo will bring up later, there are other people, including Katiclyzm, who make thumbnails similar to this. Which is weird. It's not that weird, is it, mate? It's not that weird. A lot of people copy the way other people do thumbnails.
Why would you only just start doing that now, coincidentally, when he stops uploading?
However, the great irony of this point is that the very thumbnails on the streams that my thumbnails are being criticized on are the exact thumbnail style that somehow prove that Alex is mentoring me. And not only that, but Katiclyzm still continues to use the very thumbnails that she's criticizing me for to this day. By that logic, is she also being mentored by Alex? No. Obviously not, because it's just a YouTube thumbnail. And like I said, I haven't spoken to Alex since my last payment from him. He has nothing to do with my channel. Another ridiculous piece of evidence that they use is that I still follow I'm Alex's Instagram account.
Also,
who cares? Bro, I probably still follow Dr. Disrespect, you know. That doesn't mean I'm watching his stuff anymore.
What some people have noticed, which is what Katie alluded to in a video as well, is that Dankyjabo is still following Alex. So
I can't believe we're reading so much into who follows who. It doesn't mean that you love the content or even watch it anymore or have anything to do with the content creator if you follow them.
You know.
Apparently, and still now, Jesse followed and still follows I'm Alex.
Now, Dankyjabo was still following Alex.
A follow could mean anything. It
Yes.
does not mean an endorsement. Cataclysm,
No.
your friend Alice still follows Lewis Buckin on Instagram, who you've publicly called out on your channel before.
I'm just annoyed because why is the commentary
So are you going to be annoyed at your friend for following? Do you know what I mean? It's just hypocritical all the way.
scene full of absolute fucking morons? Lewis Buchan, you're a fucking idiot. You're a creep. Get offline. I hate you and you should not be online, you dirty scumbag. They just don't deserve platforms, do they? They don't.
I don't
They
think you
fucking
deserve
So
a
does this
platform,
mean
love.
that Alice and Lewis Buchan are close friends and that she's endorsing everything that he's done? I personally don't think so. The next piece of evidence they use is a DM that Cataclysm leaked of me making a joke.
And someone reached out to be like, hey, is there a reason you're still following an abuser? And many people will say this is petty, all right? Who cares about who's following who? But the reasoning they had more concern is because Dankyjabo was previously I'm Alex's editor. So you can already see there's a little bit of concern to be had there. Without jumping to conclusions,
It's not, you are jumping to conclusions though. There's connection because he worked for him.
there's some concern to be had. And Dankyjabo basically responded, taking the piss out of the situation as if it was nothing.
Because one of Alice's
It's not taking the piss out of the situation, it's taking the piss of you hassling him over who he follows.
friends decided to reach out to him and ask why, if it was an accident, if he meant to unfollow him, or if he just didn't know what was going on, which was unlikely and is still unlikely and is very impossible.
Bro. I don't go through my friend list every day unfollowing people I'm no longer interested in.
Now, is there any reason you still follow and work for an abusive piece of shit? They're talking about Alex.
Well,
and
I
there's
do
nobody
actually, I
else they could
lie. I do sometimes. But you don't have time to go through them all, you know?
be talking about. I'm so sorry, mate. I'm not doing an accent. I'm
Yeah, please don't do an
you
accent.
Can't, no. I'm
Please
sorry,
don't
mate.
do an accent.
I'll
Thank you.
unfollow the annoying orange right now. So you defend abusers. I'm Alex, and work for them. And that means they said it there. That means you can't ignore it. That means, yeah, maybe they could have meant something else. Maybe they could have meant the annoying orange. I don't know. I wasn't there. Maybe the annoying orange was an abusive prick. I wasn't part of the show. I don't know. But the response will baffle you. I would never defend or support the annoying orange. He gaslights all the fruit in the kitchen. How dare you accuse me of such a thing?
Now let's be clear here. It's very obvious that this person was not messaging me just to inquire, as Lewis states. This is a complete stranger who was getting hostile with me in my DMs off the bat, and I was honestly sick of people messaging me about
Yes.
my former boss, whom I have no involvement with.
Yes.
It's very egotistical and narcissistic to say that people have to take random adversarial DMs seriously, and that if they don't, that they're covert abusers. People aren't actually required to take you seriously if you DM them out of the blue, demanding
Yes.
answers despite
Yes.
you being a complete stranger. Now, with that
Yes.
being said, obviously,
Exactly. Very often somebody will reply to me online who I have no idea who they are, you know, with some judgmental or whatever comment, or without knowing anything about me, and then you naturally do respond in a funny way because it's just so ridiculous.
what I should have done is ignore it. And I'll admit it was wrong of me not to. But I made this joke to mock the person for sending me
Yes.
this DM and to
Yes.
imply that it's any more than that is
Yes.
simply unfair.
How hard is it to just carry what you say in your videos into real life? And if Dankyjabo, Jesse, had done that, he would not have replied being like, I would never, follow the annoying orange. You would have just been like, yeah, maybe I should take abuse seriously considering my channel and my bills are built upon talking about abuse. It's virtue signaling. It is. It is.
I made one joke about the annoying orange, and now you're trying to paint my entire channel out to be manipulative, disingenuous, and virtue signaling, and label me as a misogynist who defends and supports abuse.
Yeah, it's an easy follow. I'm confused on how so many of you are also confused. Alex is an abuser. Dankyjabo worked for him previously and is now defending him. It's really...
What do you mean? But at what point have we gathered that he's defending him?
I fear it's not that hard.
No, I am not, and I never have defended him. A follow on Instagram and a joke about the annoying orange do not count as a defense. You have no actual evidence of this claim because it's very obviously not true. Lewis and Katie also tried to make it seem as though I was being willfully manipulated by Alex.
This apparently made him feel as though he owed Alex some gratitude. If you ask me, that sounds like you're willingly let somebody manipulate you, but that might just be me.
A lot of people worked alongside Alex. Alex knew what he was doing to an extent. You have to give him that. People wanted Alex's help, and from what I've heard, Alex did help a lot of people, and people felt obliged to stick by him. And I do think this is definitely a form of manipulation.
What do you mean stick? I don't think following somebody is sticking by somebody. I follow thousands, almost 1,000 people on various social media platforms. It doesn't mean that I'm standing by everything they do.
Manipulation, and I don't necessarily blame every single person who feels iffy about saying anything about Alex because they've helped him, but standing by somebody who has been outed as an abuser or who you know is an abuser just because Alex has done, for example, a little bit for you and helped your career, you're a scumbag, you're an enabler, and you don't genuinely believe in what you're talking about. A little example I have here is I received a screenshot from Alice, which was one of Alice's friends in contact with a content creator called Dankyjabo.
I wasn't being exploited, I was working a job and being paid for my work. And it was in an industry that I've always wanted to be a part of, so I was grateful for the opportunity. I edited his YouTube videos, and he paid me. I was an employee. That was all that was happening. To try and paint it out as though there was something inherently corrupt going on here is just strange and inaccurate. I worked for him remotely, we never even met personally, he paid me, and we barely spoke. There was really nothing more interesting going on than that.
He's being a dickhead, a doofus, even kind of a, you know, intolerable cringe bastard, but that's fine. That's
Why?
right.
Why?
The problem is that
Why? For making a joke about some weirdo who's just contacting him out of the blue and being aggressive towards him.
that he makes
I think what it is also that these people have such big egos that they think that we have to give them a response.
almost only content, almost entirely,
He
ex-
probably doesn't know who you are, mate, you know. He's probably just like, who is this weirdo contacting me? I don't owe you, I don't know who you are. I don't owe you any explanation.
exclusively on content about either women being abused or abusive women.
Yeah. Let's look at this, man. This was really interesting, which I didn't notice. He's actually incredibly manipulative. He's got this, you know, oh, look at all these videos. One of the lines is repeated. Just for dramatic effect. There's 2 lines of the same videos. And if that isn't manipulative to your audience, I don't know what is.
Like, that's, if you scroll down in the past 6 months, that's it.
This is ridiculous to try and paint my channel in a way where I only cover abusive relationships, and then go on to show a screenshot where only one of the 16 videos shown is about an abusive relationship, and to show that video twice in the same screenshot to make it look more like I cover them exclusively is so blatantly manipulative and hypocritical when you're calling me out for being a manipulative hypocrite. Of the 42 commentary videos that I have made thus far, only 3 of them are about abusive relationships. So to claim that this is the only type of content that I make is just one of the many lies that have been levied against me. Lewis and Katiclyzm have also said on a live stream that I have talked openly about being taught by Alex.
Then you have to understand that abusive people are not those to coddle. They're not those to, you know, hold dear. They're people to, sure, talk with and understand, but not to forgive, not to work with and take advice from.
You can never forgive anybody for anything they've done. Hang them all.
Because according to him, and in certain situations, he might still be taking tutelage from I'm Alex, which is a big issue.
What do you mean, according to me? When have I ever said anything that might even slightly suggest that I've been receiving tutelage from him? The answer is never, which is why neither Lewis nor Katiclyzm ever give any examples, because it's not true. I need to make it so incredibly clear. I have not spoken to this man since my last payment from him, which in and of itself was a completely standard business conversation, as he owed me money for the work that I had done on his channel. I genuinely have no idea what the 2 of them could be referring to here. He even says that me and Alex must be in contact because we have the same editing style.
Right?
Sure,
They have
that's
the
probably
same thumbnail design.
if
They have the same content design. They do the same editing technique.
that
It's
would
a
be
big
Well,
This is funny.
the whole similar content style, that's how all these types of communities work in general. Like, there's usually a community, and then everybody
It's not even
copies the same
vaguely
style.
similar. It's almost the same.
Maybe it's because I was his fucking editor. Obviously, the edits are gonna be the same. I was the one doing both of them. We make commentary videos. None of us are exactly reinventing the wheel here.
The problem is he's making this content, and then this is how he actually treats a case that he is involved with, involving the abuse of a woman. Do you not see the problem there?
The only reason I am now involved in this is because you are insisting that I know these people when I worked for Alex briefly and I didn't know Alice at all. If it wasn't for your input, then I still would have nothing to do with any of this. You've made this a problem by making things up to get mad at, and you've been doing that the whole time. Katie even says...
Making things to get mad at with absolutely zero evidence or receipts. Just conjecture, total conjecture.
this on her stream as justification for why she had to confront me.
But there are still speculation that he and Alex may be working together behind the scenes.
The only reason the speculation exists now is because of you.
Yes.
There were no rumors about any of this before you started harassing me publicly.
But Katiclyzm was approached by Jessie not too long ago. I think it was also about 5 to 6 months ago when she was approached by Jessie, and Jessie wanted to talk with her, okay? They made similar content, they had similar subcounts, this is her words. And so he asked to call her, which, if you ask me, calling people has a stigma around it for a reason. You can just text people, man. If there's no reason to call, like if it's not urgent or anything, there shouldn't be any reason.
If there's something inherently wrong with calls, then why do you want to do an interview with me like you state later on in your video?
Come on my show. Come on here. I will interview you.
What? Why is he gonna come on your random show? Is it somebody annoying who he doesn't know who the hell he is? Just somebody random who's sniping him?
Biasedly. I will ask you questions. That is what I will do, okay? I'm offering you this proposition.
This is just such a reach.
I'm so grateful that you're offering me this. I don't need you, man. I don't need to prove anything to you.
Messaged her because she followed me and we were at similar sizes. All I did was go, hey man, we should hop on a call sometime. For you to try and paint this out as something nefarious is incredibly disingenuous and manipulative.
He mansplained how to be a better YouTuber to Katiclyzm for like 2.5 hours.
You were on, you were listening in where you knew what he was, you knew his exact words during the conversation.
And then, at the end of those 2 hours, apparently Katiclyzm jumped on the opportunity.
2 hours. As he later proves, the call was only 40 minutes.
To ask him why he said the annoying orange bullshit, into which he hung up, ran away.
He said the annoying orange bullshit because he was sick of your aggressive texts, obviously trying to corner him and make content from it.
And unfollowed her.
I don't know what Katiclyzm told you, but this is not what happened at all. The call was not 2.5 hours long. I have it right here. It was 40 minutes. And you claim that at the end of the call I ran away when the screenshot was brought up. No, I explained exactly to Katiclyzm what I've been explaining to you this video. That I edited for Alex, that I was grateful for the opportunity that he gave me, that we were never friends, and I haven't spoken to him in months. This part of the call was conveniently left out of her retelling of events, however. Now this would be a my word against your scenario, but there's actual evidence for this. When the call ended, Katiclyzm messaged me saying this. Yo, thanks for calling, man, appreciate it. If you ever want to join call with us, feel free. Gives you a chance to talk to more people, kiss. Do those sound like the words of somebody who just got abruptly hung up on? I personally don't think so. I'm very concerned that these YouTubers have made videos on me based purely on gossip and baseless accusations with no evidence of how the conversations they say went down actually went down. I didn't join Katie's call with her friends, and now they've all gone and made negative videos on me which were not reflected by the messages that I was receiving at the time. At this point, she had unfollowed me on Instagram, and I just really did not think that it was a big deal at all. In my mind, if she had unfollowed me, it'd probably just be best if I had unfollowed her, just as I told her in the DMs that she ended up leaking.
Can we call real quick? I know why you want to call. You don't want it to be in text message so that she can't screenshot it, so that she can't prove to the world that you might not do as you preach. You sly bastard. You thought you could just hide.
And you don't think screenshotting somebody's text messages without them knowing and then leaking them is not sly? Please. It seems to be one set of rules for one set of people and another set of rules for the others.
Hide around being kind of a quirky, weird dude. You know, somebody you might just call because they don't like the text. No. You don't want the chance of there being receipts out there. That's even more weird. That's even worse. Oh my God. That's That's even worse, dude. You can't just... I'm glad I pieced that together,
God,
because
this
I don't think
person's
anybody's
annoying.
made that point yet. Yeah, Detective Louis McClung.
You're right. Nobody has made this point before. Maybe because it's dog shit. It's very obvious that some people prefer calls because they're just quicker and more convenient. It's perfectly fine to ask for a call, as you have literally done in this video. You're using the fact that I tried to...
All as well. I can understand people going to, if it was about an issue, if you want to talk about a serious issue. Okay, let's have a proper conversation about this, phone call about this, and we can talk about it. Texts can be, as you can see, interpreted in different ways, whereas if you talk to somebody in a phone call, we can actually really hear in somebody's voice what they're saying, and they can explain themselves properly.
call someone as some sort of weird manipulation tactic, despite the fact that I later immediately agreed to text instead. It's just another one of your many baseless accusations.
Bro, I was trying to tell you that the screenshot of the annoying orange stuff, is you blatantly mocking abuse. And you came to me, out of all people who, if you, which you clearly had, been on my channel, you'd realize I've been abused too.
I spoke to Katie because she followed me and we were at similar sizes, like I said. The fact that anyone may have been abused was not on my mind at all, because why would it be? It was just one YouTuber talking to another. I don't know why people think I'm involved in anything else. One joke about the annoying orange because I didn't want people bothering me has somehow turned into me defending an abuser and being I'm Alex's best friend.
Is that, yeah, that's a little stupid of you. You know, to come to somebody and be like, I know how to YouTube better than you. You should ask me questions and we should like call and stuff. Honestly, it sounds like he was trying to like flirt. I don't know. I don't want to assume or presume. He might.
Yes, you do, because it's perfect content for you, isn't it? Oh, I don't want to know. No, I'm not suggesting that. I know. Give me a break.
He might have been
I've been in a relationship now for 2 years. My girlfriend was literally in the room with me as I was on call with Katie, who is also in a relationship.
Exactly, man.
Tell your audience that I might have been trying to flirt with Katiclyzm based on absolutely fucking nothing is so deeply inappropriate that I can barely believe you thought this would be a good idea to put in your video. Not only is it obviously completely false, but much like everything else in this video, it's based on nothing but your own ignorant and uneducated assumptions. I'm very confused as to why the two of you are acting as though you know me personally. We were never friends, I don't know you, and you definitely don't know me. I keep my relationships and my private life as private as I possibly can, and I'm now having to divulge information because of stupid assertions like how I was trying to flirt with Katiclyzm. Does Lewis not understand that it is possible for a man and a woman to interact with each other with no flirting being involved at all?
But if you can't handle the conversation of abuse with some class and decency and some kind of nuance, then you shouldn't.
The text message, the annoying orange thing, it wasn't talking about abuse, as classic decency and talking about abuse. It was a joke about you coming in his DMs, just fishing, basically, fishing for content, fishing for something to whinge about.
Then be allowed to do it. The reason that these topics do well is because they are interesting and intricate and require nuance. They require an ability to understand it and put yourself in the shoes of the people who suffer and the people who do it. And if you can't...
It wasn't about any of that. It was about an annoying person like you being in his DMs. That was the other thing I was thinking, that he was saying, like, he might follow the annoying orange, but he doesn't mean that he still watches annoying orange content. I think that's part of the joke as well.
Can't do that. You know, when somebody approaches you, you can't even just ignore them. You just make stupid jokes mocking the gaslighting and abuse of a random woman who you might have known or might have not known. Either way, it's fucking weird. I think he did know her. That's the worst part, okay?
You think?
That's the dumbest part.
Where's
Again,
the
I don't
evidence?
know what Katie was telling you, but me and Alice have never even exchanged a word with each other. Just like the idea that I'm flirting with Katie, this is yet another baseless and untrue accusation with the sole purpose of painting me out to look as bad as possible. Very ironic when you've just made the claim that I am unable to handle topics with class, nuance, and decency.
Deleting all the messages too. Oh, that's how you fucked up there, buddy. Oh, that was stupid. Saying that and doing that, we have images here of proof that he started deleting messages so that it was harder to read and whatever. Oh, that hurts my head. Okay, I don't understand how you can act this way and then literally type out, yeah, I'm gonna delete this now, mate.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna delete all these now.
I'm gonna stop doing that. I actually didn't want to do it, but now it's growing on me, okay? But you deleting the
Such
messages
annoying
means you understand that people seeing this would ruin your reputation. People seeing this would understand that maybe you don't deserve to be talking about these situations. You have no right, some would say.
I deleted the messages
You
because
would
people
say.
seem to leak messages all the
He
time.
wasn't even
and I did
talking
not want
about
to
the
be involved in
situation.
any petty drama. It was not a malicious move, else I wouldn't have warned Katiclyzm that I was about to delete them. Obviously that didn't work, as Katie was screenshotting the conversation in real time, because the purpose of this all, from the beginning, was to entrap me. They have run with a bunch of complete fiction to make it seem as though that I am involved in something that I have no part in, to the point where they are fabricating that I was flirting with Katiclyzm and may have known Alice when we never interacted.
But there are a bunch of clips from his actual literal videos, past or new, that he says just some fucking weird things in. Like this one from Madagascar 2, I think. Sorry, I never saw that one. I just watched 1 and 3 because those movies are infinitely better.
Speaking of whoring out, Gloria from Madagascar is an annoying whore, whose lines consist only of men and ogling men and having sex with men.
Oh my God, you can't just suppress your hate for women for 1 second? You can't do that. Hold on. So let me get this straight. Being a woman and then thinking about only men, let's say there is somebody who does that, makes you a whore? Huh? Who made that decision? Hey, who made that rule? Hey, who made that rule? Who made that like a normal thing that we all agree with? Oh, that's right, nobody did. That's just a weird fucking thing to say.
Not only did I not say that at all, but to claim that I hate women because of something I said jokingly about a cartoon hippo 3 years ago is ridiculous.
Or maybe this one about Lola Bunny. Just hold on. Just wait till the end of the clip. Just wait. Just give it a second.
Her design is interesting to look at and is animated very impressively in the original Space Jam, especially for the time. And whilst her character at its core is a simple love interest, at least she had a character. In the god-awful sequel, she looks like shit. And I'm not talking about her tits being smaller. I mean her design as a whole is horrendously ugly and boring to look at.
Her what? Ah! Oh, God! Sorry, I had to, you know, get that out. You understand.
Yeah, no, we don't understand.
Why?
Don't say I understand. I don't understand you. You're an idiot.
Must you feel as though you have to make these remarks?
This comment was made in response to the weird online discourse that they had nerfed Lola Bunny in Space Jam 2. I was talking about how my criticism for the character went beyond stupid shit like her just being nerfed. Once again though, for somebody who talks about nuance, it's incredibly ironic that your evidence for me being a virtue signaler who hates women—
Because he just didn't understand what he was talking about, basically. Just took that little clip out. Took it out of context.
is something I said about a cartoon rabbit 3 years ago. And I'm not talking about her tits being smaller.
Her what? Ah!
I said the word tits in an old video. Can we be fucking adults here? Like, what are we actually doing? Why is this in your video?
Okay, and these are all, I think, pre him becoming a drama commentary YouTuber. And I think these videos have since been deleted because, ooh, now 100,000 plus people are gonna see you say this stuff.
He then goes on to say that I deleted those videos, which is once again another lie that can easily be checked just by—
This is crazy. There's just no research at all. Why? In his head, he's just totally imagined that the videos were deleted. It's like you're just putting your imagination as fact. It's Lewis McClung. He's just completely come up with that from nowhere. Just imagined it completely.
By looking at my channel. The videos are still up because there's nothing wrong with them, other than the fact that they're old and badly made, I guess.
Can't have that. That's not good. But more recently, do you know what he said?
Mannerisms, he's so sassy. To all the girls watching this who like sassy men, if this doesn't get your beef curtains in a twist, then I don't know what will.
So I've been informed that that phrase—
He didn't know what that phrase meant, but he's quite happy to make a large comment on it. You know, he's never completely unfamiliar with the phrase. It's just a funny phrase, man. Like, come on. It's just a funny phrase for women's genitalia. There's nothing more to it than that. But listen to these guys. Bang on. Go deeper and deeper into it. It's just a funny name for a fanny.
is a derogatory one rooted in racism and misogyny.
This was a point that was
No, it's
also
not.
made by Katiclyzm in her stream about me.
When people insult women by saying their genitals look like roast beef, you're basically saying that the colour of their genitals isn't the colour that it is in porn. It hasn't been bleached.
No, you're not saying that. You're not saying anything about colour.
which is insulting to so many women, because the only women that are likely to have that color vagina are most likely going to be women of color. It just doesn't really make any sense. The only women that aren't going to have pigment on their are white women.
With all due respect, I was raised in Egypt and now live in Scotland. Having spent my whole life as a man of colour, I do not need Lewis McClung and Katiclyzm to explain what racism is to me. What you've both done here is take very obvious jokes out of context and you're deliberately spinning them in bad faith, even going so far as to allege that I'm a racist and that I hate women. Once again, none of you know anything about me, and I have no idea why you thought this would be remotely appropriate.
But it's just giving misogyny. Women already have so much pressure on them to have their bodies, you know, live up to the societies of corn, and the beauty standard is insane. When people insult women by saying their genitals look like roast beef...
Was I insulting women by saying that their genitals look like roast beef, or was I ultimately just making a quip that meant nothing? The two even go as far as to assert that I have a pornography addiction.
It's giving porn addict, because... a lot of society...
This is just assumptions you've made on assumptions from overthinking, going off in your little imagination.
The expectations on women now is insane. Like, the way you're meant to look is really based off of pornography, and when you refer to women's genitals like that, it's usually an attempt to insult women.
But the only way you would hear this phrase is apparently through pornography or adult media or anything sexualizing women. Because I, personally, haven't actually heard that terminology ever, okay? I have never...
Yeah, because you're so, woke, mate. Like, come on, man. It's just a funny phrase, just been around for decades, which people who don't stay in their bedroom all day, terminally online, would probably have heard of.
Heard those words used to describe female genitalia, and apparently that was the point. What? Dude, you can't... You are indirectly and directly showing us the kind of person you are.
Again, like I said, it's used to insult women.
Why? Listen, I love it. Just side topic. He was talking about Dankyjabo flirting with Katiclyzm. I could possibly say, just assuming, not saying anything, that Katiclyzm and Lewis McClung have been flirting because they're wearing the same clothes. Because if they're sort of saying, oh, look, I like you, maybe we could go well together. Come on.
The appearance of women's genitals in comparison to corn. Tell me you've got a problem without telling me.
How on earth could you possibly know this? All I did was use the term beef curtains. I don't understand how it's been spun to this level. To be completely
It's amazing.
honest with you all, this is not something I've ever wanted to talk about on my channel, as I've already mentioned that I like to keep my private life private, but I am literally asexual. So the claims that I'm flirting with Katiclyzm, that I have a pornography addiction, that I must engage in incel groups, or whatever Lewis meant by this comment,
or a mindset, or being in these spheres online, or having possibly in the past been in these spheres, it adds to this idea that he might have, or still...
It's just complete fantasy, just totally made up. It's insane.
Be in the mindset of somebody who is misogynistic, whether it's on purpose or not.
is all so insulting and untrue. All of these videos are based on tearing me down, based on nothing but pure assumptions.
And is it pink reference while talking about Smart Schoolboy 9 is a choice when for most women it's only pink pre-puberty, most certainly a choice? Exactly.
Not only did I never even say anything about anything being pink, but Katie is now just insinuating that I was somehow referencing anything to do with pedophilia or underage girls, which is incredibly insulting, obviously incorrect, and seriously damaging. And what's worse is that in Lewis's video where I'm criticized for being a misogynist who hates women for 3 meaningless jokes, 2 of which were 3 years ago, Lewis makes this joke.
That sounds like you're willingly let somebody manipulate you, but that might just be me. Oh, you gave me my career, but you're going to exploit me for something because of it? Yes. Because you owe me. Every woman in Hollywood ever.
So me saying the word tits 3 years ago means that I hate women, but you're allowed to make a joke about all women in Hollywood allowing themselves to be willfully manipulated. This is an infinitely more misogynistic and offensive thing to say than anything that the two of you ever accused me of. But I'm not going to do what you did and call you a misogynist, because it was clearly a joke. Here is another bit of apparent evidence for my hatred of women from the Papa Gut stream.
A lack of nuance. Apparently in one of his videos, he said that a woman cannot be beautiful if she is a mother. Apparently that's what he said.
Here's the clip of this joke that they're talking about for everyone wondering. Hey, says Santos. What's good, says Brianna Olsen. I'm sure this is some riveting conversation here. For everyone still in school who thinks that adults just grow this magical power to be more social or more extroverted, I don't know, maybe I've just not had that patch delivered to me yet, but I mean, it seems as though it's wrong based on this alone. To be fair, one of them is an actual child, and this is how year 8s flirt. This is like their sexy talk, I guess. Except Brianna Olsen is a mother, so there's nothing sexy about it. It's very obvious to everybody watching the video that I was not saying mothers could not be attractive, but was in fact making fun of this one in particular for bragging about flirting with a 19-year-old boy. And what's worse is that Lewis goes on to admit that he's never even seen the clip.
I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what he said.
Did you see him say it?
Yeah, I saw that.
I have not watched the video yet.
So I guess this explains why he's so uneducated about everything he talks about. Because he doesn't bother educating himself. The guy's research for when he decides to call someone out publicly is fucking YouTube comments that he's pinned. Yeah, man, you definitely have all the nuance needed to talk about these topics.
And again, it's such a minor thing from him. Do I think that makes him a terrible person? Again, no. But it's comments like that that come from him, as well as like a plethora of other comments that he's made that just come across that he is very...
Plethora. Big word.
I want to say slightly misogynistic, and I'm not throwing that term around loosely. I do think a lot of the things he says, he may not hate women per se, but when he makes comments like that, and again, the mother comment about how mothers can't be sexy, again, I don't know if the context is fully there for that, so I won't go too much.
It's so funny that you are both so confident in calling me a misogynist in your videos, but when somebody simply asks you to explain why I'm a misogynist, you can't do it. The reason that these two are struggling so much to answer a question that should be easy considering how confident they were, is because there's no evidence for it. Apart from 3 jokes, I guess, that you've taken out of context.
As soon as somebody sort of says, okay then, you know, it's very easy to talk, to say whatever into a camera with nothing coming back at you. But if, somebody's actually questioning what I'm saying in real life, what do I say back, you know?
This is why neither of you bring up the Gloria or Lola Bunny bullshit in this Papa Gut stream, because you know how silly you'd look if you did.
And that's the thing. He may not intend. But I would disagree. I think it was previously a more accepted term. Now it's more derogatory because of things like porn, because of the standards to women's genitalia. So I do think, especially maybe it's just not a part of the internet that you're on, but there is already so much discourse about the appearance of women's parts.
Maybe you're not as on the cooler part of the internet like I am.
And always in a negative way as well.
Oh,
so
are you trying to say that like the whole beef curtain thing is him saying that that's like an ugly vagina? Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
well, that's
I think
if you ever see people online, and again, it's because of the side of the internet I'm on because I talk about porn a lot. But if you ever see that term, it is always used as a way to insult the way a woman's vagina looks.
All I did was say the word beef curtains. I seriously don't understand how it's come to this level. Just
of funny, derogatory descriptions of male genitalia, male parts that we just laugh at. It's sounding a bit as if you're crying about nothing.
Using the term means nothing, or else all 3 of you would be raging misogynists. The context is so clearly jokey and not derogatory. The 2 of you are only latching onto it this much because there's no actual evidence of me being a misogynist, but for some reason, you would really want me to be.
Obviously, they use it in other terms, usually in kind of joking ways, so maybe that was a joke.
What do you mean, maybe it was a joke? Do you think that I randomly paused my video on Smart Schoolboy 9 to criticize women for not having porn star vaginas? You know that it was a joke. It's so obvious.
It's not necessarily that standing alone is the biggest issue, right? If that is the only thing
yes,
he had
but
done,
you brought it up as if it was one of the biggest issues.
we would not be here. It's the fact that it is on top of everything else, and in a vacuum it wouldn't do anything, but
on top of everything else, what were the other things? That was your main point in your video.
this room with all of these different things that point towards him having a
All these
misogynistic
different
tone
things. It's all very vague, isn't it?
or a mindset, or being in these spheres online, or having possibly in the past been in these spheres. It adds to this idea that he might have or still be in the mindset of somebody
Or
who is
maybe,
misogynistic,
possibly.
whether it's on purpose or not. And it's seeping into his content. That is what this kind of points towards. And it is still an issue if he doesn't, like, acknowledge that that is a derogatory term, and using it to refer to people is not necessarily a good thing.
You can't just say shit like that and provide no other evidence or examples. If there's other clips that prove that I'm a misogynist, then talk about them. You can't just levy these accusations against me and genuinely provide nothing, but here's another clip of them doing just that.
People like Katiclyzm talked about it in their videos, specifically because she was somebody who was censored by him. But if you want to hear about that, definitely go watch the live stream that she still has posted to this day, because, she's still very much
Who I'm still flirting with. Trying to get with.
stands by this information, as do I, but it's important to know that he also censors in different ways. Like, for instance, apparently at the start of one of his videos, he said to his audience to comment down below as if he had done something terrible, because Katiclyzm had just released in stories on her Instagram about what he was saying and what he was doing. So to cover it up, he would censor those like Katiclyzm who were actually talking about what he was actually doing, and then he would just ignore anything else that seemed like it would actually call him out, because everybody else was just following what he asked them to do, which is borderline manipulative and honestly insane.
Again, another baseless accusation. I just thought it would be a funny joke. That's it.
If you proudly wore this on your chest, okay? If you were like, yeah, I'm still friends with Alex, yeah, you know what? And that's my choice, you guys can hate me for that. If you did that, I would actually still have a little bit of respect for you.
Yes, but,
the fact that
but he never was friends with him. You've got no proof that he was. Just because he edited for him doesn't mean they were busy mates. It was a business relationship.
running away from all of it, acting like you get to do this stuff and hide from it, even though you did it. You made all these decisions. You don't have to be friends with an abuser, but you chose to do so, and you want to hide it from your fans so that they don't know the kind of person you are. Dude,
I didn't do anything or make all of these decisions. You've completely made up the idea that I'm friends with an abuser. Why would I need to answer for that? There's no lying by omission, as you state in this video.
And to lie to them, to manipulate them, to avoid the truth. Maybe not so much lie, but to silence the truth. It might as well be lying.
I'm being truthful by not talking about it because there is nothing to talk about. I had already told Katiclyzm in our call that I wasn't friends with him. I don't understand what else you want from me here.
Dude, just be truthful. Like, for instance, he made an Onision video, okay, that got taken down, flagged or whatever, and it basically almost took down his channel in his own words. Not to flex, but could never be me. Mine's still up. It's one of my biggest videos ever, you know? I don't mean to flex too hard, man. But in the wake of this, he, one, reposted the video, and two, to support him for working on reposting this video and whatnot, he made a Patreon, okay, so that people who wanted to support him in the wake of this minor devastation could. And this would also grant you access to a members-only Discord channel where you could talk with him and all of his other fans and whatnot about him and nothing but him. Whatever, right? But then Katiclyzm released her video, and people started talking.
What he wants from
and
his
a lot of them
Patreon. Who are
started
you to
asking
decide
him
what
questions
somebody
about the
else does with their
situation.
Patreon?
And you know what he did? He fucking deleted it all. Oh, dude, I gotta get out of I gotta get the fuck out of here. Honestly, if I made a Patreon, I'd probably be like, what's the minimum you can do? Like a cent? Is that something you can do? When people start asking you questions and your first response is to be like, get rid of it all. I can't handle this. I can't handle this policing and drama. Dude, if your audience, the only thing that makes you who you are on the internet, says, hey man, I don't mean to be a jackass, but why are you being a jackass? And your first response is, shut up, you can't ask me questions, I'm deleting it all. You're gonna ruin my career. You don't deserve to have that career if you can't handle the stuff you cover in real life.
Who are you to say what I deserve and what I don't deserve? You obviously deserve. You're very entitled to everything, aren't you?
Class.
Once again, more assumptions. Here's the message that I left on my Discord before I took my Patreon down. There was simply no reason to have a Patreon anymore considering how much income my channel was generating, and that's something that I am genuinely grateful for. But it really is just that simple. I don't know why everything I do is now somehow linked to this situation that is ultimately about nothing. It's also very interesting to me that you act so high and mighty about the fact that if you were to ever start a Patreon, you would only charge your fans 1 cent because you're that much of a nice guy.
Honestly, if I made a Patreon, I'd probably be like, what's the minimum you can do? Like a cent? Is that something you can do?
But you literally have channel memberships that start at £3 a month. Like, that's fine. Have channel memberships. It's whatever. But who's the virtue signaler here exactly?
And nuance. See, because what you lack...
300 times a cent.
Nuance. Being wrong is the quickest path to being right. Admitting your wrongs is the quickest path back to being a good person. Righting your wrongs, confessing your wrongs, being true to the people who support you and give you a job and a rent and a career. Okay? That is what gives you anything.
There is no nuance in perpetuating a story about me when there is no proof at all.
What you lack is nuance.
It's incredibly hypocritical of you to claim that I lack the nuance to run my channel and that you have all the nuance, class, decency, empathy, and intelligence necessary to put yourself in the shoes of others and cover whatever topics you like. Where exactly was the nuance when you started off your videos on rape accusations and attempted murder with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure edits? Couple of meaningless jokes that I made 3 years ago somehow prove that I'm a raging misogynist and I don't deserve a career. But you're able to start your video off on rape accusations like this, and that's all fine and dandy.
Audience member, my beautiful audience members, those who I cherish more than any earthly possession I have, because without you, I would have nothing.
You can't cherish or respect your audience that much if you're this willing to lie to their faces about another creator that you share that audience with. To call me a virtue signaler and talk to your audience like this is incredibly ironic.
So this is my proposition to you, you nuance-lacking goblin. Come on my show. Come on.
Why are you still controlling this situation? Like, I'm gonna come begging on my hands and knees. Oh, please forgive me, Lewis. Please, right my wrongs.
On here. I will
No,
interview
why
you
would I?
unbiasedly. I will ask you questions. That is what I will do, okay? I'm offering you this proposition. I will interview you. If you feel as though you have no avenue for clearing your name, if there is really a way to clear your name, because you really...
The avenue is doing what he's done with dignity and class. He's done a response video on his own channel. He doesn't need to come on your crappy little channel, you know, and talk to an idiot like you. He'd just do a response on his channel and explain it to his audience. He doesn't need to explain it to you and your audience.
Audience, above all, deserves the truth from you.
You cannot make a video with baseless accusations and big lies to try and scare me into doing an interview for your YouTube channel. Who do you actually think you are? Offering me an interview as though you're doing me a favor when you've just lied about me for 20 minutes in front of 300,000 people. If you genuinely cared about this, you would not be trying to get a YouTube video out of it and turn it into a public display. And what you claim to have been attempts to keep this private are similarly fictitious. You say to Papa Gut on stream that you would...
Why would I want to come on your show after you've done that to me? Yeah, exactly.
Tried to keep this private by messaging me and that I had blatantly ignored you.
It's important to hold yourself accountable for these things, and he's not letting anybody reach him about it. I even messaged him directly, and he ignored it. So when you do that, it honestly feels like a really idiotic thing to do.
You had left a comment on my channel and messaged me on Instagram one day before you decided to put your hit piece out on me. I hadn't even seen the notification that I had even been messaged by you until after your video was already out. But even if I had seen and responded to your message in time, the fact that your video was out so soon after tells me that you already had your mind made up. In fact, the reason that you probably don't bring up the fact that you messaged me in your video is because it was probably recorded before you even messaged me. To give me one day to respond to you and assume that if I don't respond, I must be a misogynistic abuse apologist is horrendously unfair. And even in these messages, you show the same level of ego and self-importance that you do in the video.
You're gonna want to answer. You have to respond. No, I don't.
Claiming that we need to talk, that I'm required to answer your questions, and that I have to talk about the situation involving me. There is no situation, and we had exchanged like 10 messages before this. We're not friends at all, and I don't even know you. So whatever gave you the impression that you had the right to speak to me like this is beyond me. I do not have to talk about anybody or do anything that you want. I make YouTube videos, and that's that. I will not let any of you bully me into doing what you like. I would have been perfectly cordial if you had spoken to me like a normal person, but you didn't. And by the way, neither did Katiclyzm. From the moment I ignored her offer to join call with her and her friends, she had begun randomly messaging me unwarranted, hateful messages whenever she felt like it. Not only that, but she was also hearting comments on her YouTube channel that accused me of being a potential sexual assaulter. The fact that either of you act as though you were trying to be fair at any point, that you were trying to be respectful at any point, is honestly laughable.
This video about Jesse, I wanted to make it still with a little respect in my heart for him as a human.
Painting me out as a potential sexual assaulter goes beyond just hearting comments though. Katiclyzm even justifies her harassment towards me as putting a stop to my future abuse, comparing me to her ex-boyfriend who she said had poured boiling water over her, and telling people that if she didn't put a stop to me now, that I could end up like this.
But in all seriousness, guys, you know, this type of behavior is only the beginning. You know, I've seen more often than not when stuff is just surface level, it gets worse and worse, you know? And I just want to remind people, and this isn't a pity party.
Thank you for
but
saving us.
I've made a video before about this. I've been in a relationship with someone for 2 years who abused me. And I saw it progressively get worse and worse, you know? You start off not very nice, a little bit angry, a lot of apologies. You end the relationship having boiling water thrown down your front, being called every word under the sun, being thrown to the ground, multiple terrible things happening to you. And how did it start? With the little things. It always starts off small, and it's not something that people should think when, because if you say
what if it starts off small? Let's cross the bridge when we come to it, rather than making up a problem which isn't there and escalating it before anything's, even though nothing's happened.
oh, don't call him out for that small thing, then you're implying that small things should just be let go. When it comes to women and abuse, no, small things shouldn't be.
I hope I don't need to explain how genuinely horrific an allegation like this is when the only piece of evidence that you have is an annoying orange joke and a follow on Instagram. I am very sorry that this happened to you, Katie, but it is simply not an excuse for you to levy these baseless accusations against me.
I said I'm asking you questions privately before I ask them publicly. So here, ladies and gentlemen, we have an example of me giving him a pretty good chance to even just explain himself. I'm not saying that I would have been his friend if he had. I would have still thought...
Oh, yeah, exactly. So why would I have to explain it to you if you're still going to shit on me?
Thought that you are an ignorant idiot, okay? But I wanted to give him the chance to explain, because who knows, there could have been some...
Who are you to think that you're giving people a chance and, you know, this, that and the other? Like you've got some power, you know, over people. What the fuck, man?
Something going on, Dad.
This is not you giving me a chance to explain
I
myself.
hate all these, all this crap, man. Give me a
This
break.
is just a threat. Why would I want to engage with you after finding out that you're screenshotting messages in real time and are now threatening me? It's very clear here that you do not have good intentions. I just don't understand what editing for Alex makes me guilty of. I'm being witch hunted for my previous employment. We were never close. In fact, you literally make the claim that he would regularly shit talk me.
And I also want to add a really hilarious addition to this situation, which makes it the fucking icing on the cake. Alex used to chat shit about Jesse, and I mean, he would criticize his work, he would say he was shit, he said all sorts. He said that his work was just terrible, like, it's insane, like,
He was quite happy to keep employing him and paying him.
defending someone, Jesse, that didn't like you and was two-faced to you.
You
Some people can be two-faced, some people can't.
even messaged me this saying you should do a video on the shit talking Alex used to do about you. Content idea for you. But just one message previous, you say that it's blindingly obvious the two of us were close. Based on what? An annoying orange joke. I literally apologized to you about that joke on call as well. Even though Lewis is claiming that I just hung up and ran away. And on this Papa Gut stream, he says that if I had just apologized privately, none of this ever would have happened.
Continued to deflect and ignore and lie to cover up that initial incident, when that initial incident wouldn't have become such a big issue if he had just addressed it when everybody
You made
asked
it a
him
big
to.
issue.
Right? When, like, to those people, not even publicly, right? If he had just apologized privately, this never would have been a situation, but he continued to make it a problem, right? He created this giant cascading event.
No, you did.
That could have been avoided by him just being less of a, you know, weirdo about it.
I don't know what Katie told you about the call that we had,
Less
but
of
I did.
I can't think of a way to explain it. I'll just say weirdo. It's easy, isn't it?
Did apologize privately to her in this call about the screenshots. I said it was really dumb.
Don't worry. We haven't got too much longer to go, folks. It is quite interesting. It's all so stupid. How much content has been made out of nothing?
To respond in the way I did, and that I should have ignored it. She even goes on to admit this later on in the stream.
One-on-one, when we had this phone call, he admitted that it was wrong. I don't know if that was reiterated in the video that you just watched, but he told me he shouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
And that he should have taken it more seriously.
And even on the pinned comment she wrote on the stream about me, she says that I had indeed apologized for the screenshot. Despite this, Lewis says that all I needed to do was apologize in private, and none of this would have happened. I did apologize for the message privately, and it ended up meaning nothing. I don't know what else was expected or wanted from me. It seems as though no matter what I had done, you would have found a way to justify that I don't deserve a career, and that
And to make some expose content.
your harassment towards me is necessary.
Let's say it was just a needless joke, okay? He still deleted messages. He still had to apologize for it in private.
So in a few minutes, we've gone from, if he had apologized in private, none of this ever would have happened, to, well, actually, he did apologize in private, but that's exactly why this has to happen. Because his apology is proof that he's guilty and deserves what he's getting from us.
Yeah.
What you're basically
You
saying
can't
here
win.
is that no matter what I would have done,
Yeah.
I would have been fucked. If I
Yeah.
don't apologize, then I'm running away from it all, but if I do apologize, I'm somehow admitting to defending and supporting abuse.
Exactly.
I really appreciate the class, nuancy, and dignity from you
Can't
here,
win,
Lewis.
can you?
What
Really?
you lack is nuance.
Both you and Katiclyzm talk constantly about how you're the perfect YouTubers, how unlike everybody else, you have no skeletons in your closet, and so you don't need to live in constant fear of being exposed.
I don't have anything about me that anybody can expose. I don't plan on doing anything terrible. And it means that I can come online and equally judge people. Anybody that can't or say they can't talk about stuff is usually because they have stuff to hide themselves, or they're panicking because they're somehow linked.
Do you know what it feels like to see all of these commentary YouTubers dropping like flies? It worries me.
You're
Because
gonna be next,
personally,
mate.
I don't have any skeletons in my closet. I've had a very boring life, okay? I've been
Yes, you do have skeletons in your closet now, both of you, because everybody has seen now that you're exposed as fraudsters who are trying to expose others for things that haven't happened.
a straight edge kid. I've been I was in one musical. I didn't have many friends. I kind of just watched.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you just sat in your room, not socialising, and you're socially inept, and you just socialising with people similar to you online without having any experience of real life people, interactions in real life.
Shows, stayed inside and didn't shower enough as a child. I was a very cloistered individual. Like, I didn't do anything, okay? But that kind of makes me the perfect YouTuber in a way,
No,
even
it
though my
doesn't.
life kind of sucked and I...
It makes you the worst. Not the worst, but you've had no life experience, mate. You're just in this weird fantasy online world. Just get out, man. Get out and about. Talk to real people.
I suffered with a lot of depression because of it, but somehow I'm going to turn out to be terrible.
Another reason why people like Alex get away with it for so long is that people have dirt on each other. The reason why I'm able to make this video, and potentially not many other people, is because I've done absolutely nothing wrong with my time online.
What about when you made a video on a transgender woman that was so ignorant and transphobic that you had to delete it? Your first video on Lily Tino is now only available on Papa Gut's stream VOD.
Here we go. Exactly. This is it. Somebody who's quick to point fingers at others and make a big scene about others often has things to hide themselves.
Now, because you deleted the original. I'm not even criticizing you for doing so, because the original was genuinely offensive. But it's just very ironic considering how much you're criticizing me from running away from my issues and hiding stuff from my audience.
I just want to also say, on behalf of Alice, like, she's had so many absolute idiots come online and exploit the situation, leak DMs she didn't want to be leaked, and just genuinely be insensitive.
Do you not realize that you are literally leaking private DMs as you complain about people leaking private DMs? Not only did you leak everything on your stories and on this stream, but you even leaked it to Louis McClung and later admitted that you were recording the call between us.
I understand that.
bit
Did you happen to record the conversation you had with him?
The really annoying thing is I did. And I had
Okay.
it on my computer for a really long time. My boyfriend edits my videos and it was on an SD card. I'm trying to figure out how to retrieve it. But then
Okay.
when I've spoken to people about like whether I'd be able to
Spoken.
like, you know, release it, it's a different story because
I
I don't.
Such a little posh girl, entitled posh girl. You could just tell, man.
I didn't tell him I was recording.
And the only reason you hadn't posted this recording yet is because you were scared of being sued, which you admitted in this tweet. Because obviously you were doing it all without my knowledge or consent. Katiclyzm even says that we had a nice conversation where I gave her good advice about YouTube.
But when I asked him explicitly, because he reached out to me and he seemed nice, to be fair, like he was friendly to me. He was okay. He explained a lot about like what I should do differently on YouTube, but it's kind of like a little bit irrelevant.
How this has been spun into me trying to flirt and mansplain how to be a better YouTuber for 2.5 hours and then run away when the screenshot was brought up is insane to me. Forgive me for trying to make friends in the space and being nice. Trust me, I won't be making that mistake again. To claim that I'm running away from you or the situation is also ridiculous. Because I'm not being funny, Katie, but why the fuck would I ever respond to messages like these ones? Katiclyzm
What did it say?
would I ever respond to messages like these ones? Katiclyzm is threatening me, bullying me, and in her stream about me, the majority of it is her just insulting me.
You've never seen a vagina in real life, have you, Jesse? That's all I'm gonna say.
Along
He's got a girl. What the hell, man? Oh no. And I love the way. What if somebody had said that the other way round to Lewis McClung? There would be an outrage, wouldn't there? But of course she can say it, you know.
alongside baseless accusations with no actual substance. This was never going to be a fair conversation. She even says on the Papa Gut stream that she never intended to make any of this public, but then on that very same stream admits that she was recording the call without my knowledge or consent.
And I wasn't planning on talking about it publicly.
If you were never planning to make this a public thing, why were you recording the call that we had? Why were you threatening to make this public? And why were you excitedly tweeting out about how much you wanted to expose me? Just a reminder, by the way, that Lewis was accusing me of being weird because I wanted to call. If we had to pick who was being weird here, is it me for trying to have a casual conversation with another YouTuber, or is it the one who was literally planning to entrap me over nothing from the start? There was never an attempt to get the truth or anything of the sort. This was always about trapping me and ending my career because I made a joke about the annoying orange. I thought we were having a casual conversation. I had no idea that I was being recorded whilst I was being interrogated about my former employment and my former boss, whom I have no involvement with. As far as I'm concerned, I made a stupid joke because I was annoyed that people were messaging me about my former boss. The fact that this has been blown to this scale over one throwaway joke that I didn't think much of at the time is terrifying. The two of you constantly talk about how you don't want to cancel me.
That I'm not intending to cancel him. I've spoke about this before.
Nice.
I don't particularly believe in cancel culture. It's kind of cringe. It defeats the whole...
Calling people out for things they haven't done is fine, though. I'd call that pretty cringe, to be honest.
purpose of holding people accountable, because it just is ridiculous most of the time.
I only wish what he has brought on himself. Okay, his own decisions. I don't want him to be canceled. I don't want him to lose a job. I don't want him to be thrown off the face of the earth or sent into a pit or whatever. What I want is for him to tell his audience the truth and stop
But why would he care what you want?
lying to them.
I don't even think necessarily that Jesse, Dankyjabo should just disappear offline and never return.
Let's be honest. If you didn't want to cancel me, you would not have approached me in the way that you did. You would not have made this many baseless accusations against me that do not accurately represent the conversations that took place between us. You wouldn't excitedly be tweeting about how much you wanted to...
So, being a content creator is knowing you want to expose some people so bad, but you know that us going to sue you, so you're forced to sit silently. So you're basically saying you want to expose people.
expose me, and you wouldn't be saying shit like this on stream.
And it makes me feel like sad. Like I just want to like log into his channel and delete it. Like it needs to be deleted.
I don't know about you.
What? Oh, so that sounds like something you would do if you had the chance. Bloody hell. But what gives you the right? Who are you to decide whether somebody's YouTube channel gets deleted? I think that's up to YouTube last time I checked.
But those do not sound like the words of somebody who doesn't want me cancelled.
This video about Jesse, I wanted to make it
This
still
poor-
with a little respect in my heart for
This poor chap, the cut is just like, oh my God, what are we talking about here? Why am I you can see his eyes is like, why am I talking to these people?
for him as a human, right? He needs to live, he needs to make money, right? That's why I make it clear I don't want to end his career. That's not at all my prerogative.
Was it respectful when Katiclyzm recorded a call without my knowledge or consent? Was it respectful when you uploaded a video on me giving me only 1 day to respond during the holidays? Was it respectful when you baselessly accused me of cheating on my girlfriend by flirting with Katiclyzm? Was it respectful when you took 2 jokes I made 3 years ago about cartoon characters as proof that I'm a misogynist? Was it respectful when you told your audience that I was spreading racist rhetoric because of what was once again a harmless joke? Both of you have been anything but respectful. You have both tried to bully me into making an apology and levied your audiences against me. These lies and baseless accusations have been greatly damaging not just to my YouTube channel, but also to my personal life. And it's all based on pure
Don't worry, mate. I don't think it is damaging. I think it's going to actually put you in a very good light. And I think you're going to get a lot more followers from this. And their followers are going to go down or not go up. Don't worry, man. Their stock has gone down and yours has gone up. No doubt about it.
conjecture, which is very ironic considering that you guys accuse me of trying to manipulate my audience when I have done everything to try and avoid being dragged into this petty gossip and drama. It's very clear to me that we had a very different upbringing and come from 2 very different parts of the world. To put jokes in your video that you know were jokes and use them to label me as a misogynist, as spreading racist rhetoric, and as an abuse apologist, I don't think I need to even explain how ridiculous that is at this point. This is my one and only response. We'll be right back to making normal videos now.
Fantastic video. Fantastic response to Lewis McClung and Katiclyzm and their ridiculous accusations. Okay, let me know what you think in the comments. Just like to say, I think he's absolutely right at the end. He dropped it in a bit at the end, but it's different spheres, isn't it? It's entitled people who have had very sheltered lives, you know, had everything beautiful and fluffy for them, being mollycoddled, versus somebody who actually has interacted with real people in the real world and not been in their little cozy groups all the time. That's just my opinion. Okay, take it easy. It's been a very long video, hasn't it? Far too long. Sleuthman's response to Dankyjabo's response to Lewis McClung's accusations. Big ups, take it easy.